Latent dysfunctions, as we have been discussing, these create social problems which are the means to bring social change. We see that unintended outcomes of human actions, unintended, which was called as latent functions, so hidden functions. Now, these unintended functions can be both negative as well as positive. So, for example, we see that people from a neighborhood go and watch the, let's say, a match of their children in the playground. So when these neighbors go to the ground, वहाँ ये सारे वो उनका मैच देखते हैं, तो सिर्फ मैच ही नहीं देखते, उनका आपस में इंटरेक्शन भी होता है, एक दूसरे के साथ जान पहचान होती है और एक दूसरे के मसाइल को देखने समझने की ज़रूरत महसूस होती है. नॉट ओनली एक दूसरे बल्कि कम्युनिटी लेवल के मसाइल की बात भी यहाँ आ जाती है. तो इस तरह से हम ये भी कह सकते हैं कि यही एक दूसरे के साथ इंटरेक्शन जो है, it becomes a social capital of the people, and this social capital can be used for discussing the social problems of the area, of the locality, and then they may be in a position to solve those problems locally by contributing, by utilizing their own resources. So the advantage of functional analysis is that it looks beyond the motivations and intentions of individual actions. So individual action is there and it has certain intention, और उस intention की वजह से उसकी let's say function तो हो achieve हो गया, लेकिन उसके साथ बहुत सारे, जैसे कि बात एक बहुत रिपीट हुई है, कोई लेटेंट हिडन फंक्शंस भी हो सकते हैं जो कि पॉजिटिव भी हो सकते हैं, नेगेटिव भी हो सकते हैं. So there is interdependence among actions of large number of people. The outcomes of these actions may extend outward in unforeseen ways, and these unforeseen ways may have positive, let's say, consequences or negative consequences. So Mertens' strategy for functional analysis is that individual subjective intentions provide a limited picture of the dynamics of the social world. Individuals' subjective intentions, subjective, you could say, personal intention to do any activity, it might have, let's say, limited kind of outcome which is manifest. But then he says it could have hidden consequences which might be far-reaching, and they may have far-reaching consequences. So human beings' actions have far-reaching and long-lasting social consequences, and many a times the people who are intending for the achievement of certain, let's say, goals, may achieve the goals, but in addition to that, there could be other outcomes, and individuals might be unaware of that, and these might continue accumulating, and there might be something, let's say, at a cumulative level. So therefore, we see that some unintended outcomes may undermine the goals of actors, and these, as I said earlier, may have negative consequences. And if they have the negative consequences, as I said, like the industrialization is something good, it is considered as a means of the development of the society, but then the negative consequences also emerge along with. So the unintended effects become part of the environment to which the actors and others subsequently have to adapt. So if the environment is changed, we have to do something with the environment, or we have to do something with our own style of living. We have to adapt with it. So the emerging basic image of social life is, first, we experience ourselves living in a world that is beyond our control. So that's important. We experience ourselves living in a world that is beyond our control. And in fact, this world has been created by ourselves. So when we see that these unintended actions, let's say results come in, then perhaps this becomes unbearable, and that's where the social problems emerge. So on the whole, Mertens' perspective for functional analysis involves investigating, doing research, and research to find out the consequences of recurrent or institutionalized patterns of action. The patterns which are repeated, patterns of action which are repeated. And if these are repeated over time, these become norms of the society, these become institutionalized, but then they have the consequences for the people. Those consequences can be manifest as well as latent. So these latent consequences could be unintended, and when unintended are negative consequences, they create problems. So evaluating the outcomes in terms of whether they are functional, dysfunctional, or non-functional for the system in which they are embedded. So that requires research and to make, let's say, evaluation whether these consequences are functional, dysfunctional, or non-functional. So we see that current institutional structures may be beneficial for the overall welfare of the society, yet may not necessarily be indispensable. And when we say that a particular structure is necessary, but then it may not be indispensable. When we say it's not indispensable, it means there could be alternatives. So there could be a functional alternative with consequences which are equally better and even desirable. So in this process, when some latent dysfunctions eventually become manifest, they are defined as social problems. So as I said earlier, the latent functions, if these are negative, they get accumulated, and when they get accumulated, they become really undesirable parts of the society. And when these are undesirable, we call them as social problems. We would like to overcome this undesirable situation, and when we want to overcome that, we would like to change the system, and that is the stage for ongoing social change. So this stage is set for ongoing social change. From these functions, latent functions, hidden functions, undesirable consequences resulting in social problems, which is a means to bring change in the society.